never mind about that. But so as I was saying, back to my story, that male figure was not there, and so I was looking for that male figure, and I didn't know I was looking for the male figure, but my actions were portraying what is really going on in my heart. You know what I mean? The Bible says that as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. And my thoughts of, I'm looking for a strong man. And I'm looking for a man who can handle me. And I'm looking for a man who has got substance. I don't want these small boys. I was doing things for God. And I was handing him receipts. And some, well, you gotta pay up now.
Because I was saving. I was doing this and this and this and
I've been tithing. I've been praying for people. God, now I need my car. Now I need my brakes. Now I need my... And you know what I'm saying? And then you end up in tantrums and you end up praying emotional prayers. So you can spend an hour in prayer. And to you, you've done good because you've prayed for an hour. But to God, you've done nothing. Because you've not said a word in his will.
Hello guys, my name is Millicent Machaka and I welcome you to the second episode of my victory story. So joining me today, I introduce you to Phelisa. She's a very wonderful woman. She's a businesswoman and she's going to tell us her story about how she lived with the challenges of not having a father figure in her life, and also, you know, take us through how God's love found her and restored her. I hope her story will inspire you, and most importantly, I hope you will stay hopeful.
Yeah. Okay.
Hi, girl.
Hey.
How are
hey,
you?
I'm well. Thanks.
You're
How are
looking
you?
so beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm so honored to have you.
Thank you so much. I'm so
Okay.
happy to be here. It's an honor for me to sit here with you and have this conversation, because we've had many conversations before, but I think this one is a very special one. Yeah, so I'm very excited.
Okay, we can start.
Okay, cool.
Tell us a story.
Where do I start? Where do I start? So my story, before I say anything, is really a story of God's redemptive love.
Wow.
You know, it's a story of a father, you know, and it's a story of me coming into my own person, you know, under the will of God. So just to give you a background of where I come from, I come from the Eastern Cape. I was born into a family of 3.
Okay.
My mom met this guy when she was very young. I think she was in grade 9 or something. And he pursued her for many, many years. But she was not allowed to date, obviously. So he waited since she was in like grade 7. Which is standard 5, until she finished matric.
Wow.
And then only they got together, and that is my father. That is the love of her life.
Okay.
And they had 2 children, my 2 elder sisters. And in the year 1993, in February, my father passed away, and I was born in March.
Wow.
So I literally, when my mother was 8 months pregnant with me, that's when my dad died. So I was born into a grieving widow. She was 26 years old. Can you imagine being 26, having 3 kids? You lost the love of your life.
So are you the firstborn?
I'm the last one.
You're the last one,
Yes.
okay.
I'm the last one. So I came into that space, you know, I came into that world, and, you know, my mom was still very young, and she was still trying to navigate what life was. But one thing that she chose to do was she chose life. She could have killed herself. She could have killed all of us.
Or aborted.
She could have aborted. You know what I mean? In fact, it's funny that you mentioned that, because the doctors actually declared me dead. Because there was so much turmoil in her life that there was no heartbeat from
a pain.
And and my mom prayed. She told me the story when I was much older, and she prayed to God. She said, God, you've given me this child. Please don't take her. You've already taken my husband. Don't take the child. And on the 12th of March, I was born and I was alive. And I think that's how my family, I was like the miracle baby. And I was so sheltered when I grew up, because everybody just loved me. You know what I'm saying? So that's really how my life started. In fact, it started as a miracle, because when doctors had declared me dead and the enemy obviously was triumphing at that time, God had another plan. So from the word go, my life was already on, you know, war mode. And so then I grew up, and I grew up in such an amazing environment that my mom was a woman of God. Through and through. She
now I see where
loved
it's
God.
coming from.
And you know what's funny? When I used to grow up, I used to be like, Mama, you are too much. Like, she was an intercessor, she was this, she was that. I was like, this woman is just too much.
It gets to
and
that
look,
point.
look what happened.
Yeah.
The apple didn't fall far from the tree. But okay, so I grew up in a very Christ-centered family. My sisters and I have got very lovely, memories of us growing up in the Eastern Cape and everything like that. And my mom loved God, but she never pushed him down our throats. Of course, we had to go to church on Sunday,
Yes.
but the choice of salvation was a personal one.
Yeah.
My mom passed away, sadly, when I was 16.
Ish.
So the time I had with her, we were best friends.
I can imagine, like you talk about your mom like she was your best friend.
I do.
And then you had to lose like your best friend.
So can you imagine, 16 years old and your life just goes on a whirlwind, right? I lost my mom and she was my life at the time. I stayed with her. My sisters were in boarding school and it literally brought like a crash into what I thought was my life. Another thing was my mom was my world. You know that thing where you say, oh, if my mom can die, I will die. Like
me right now, if I can just imagine my mom dying, I literally cry as if it happened. And I'm like, am I ever going to be able to handle this? So I can imagine.
It's real.
Yeah.
And you're never too young or too old. You're never ready for that. Even if your mom is 100 years old and she's been sick, you're never ready.
That is true.
To lose a parent. But one of the things for me that I was so dependent on my mom for prayer, for everything, because she was my rock.
Yeah.
And when I lost her, I lost my stability and I crashed. I used to, my life went down. I used to drink myself to sleep, cry myself to sleep. I would drink sleeping tablets because that's the only way I could fall asleep. But even then, I couldn't fall asleep. Like, it was the worst trauma I can even describe to you. It was so, so, so bad. And that period of my life, in fact, that grade 11, and this was a week before we wrote
You were in
prelims.
high school. You were so young.
I was so young. A week before we wrote prelims. I don't even know how we wrote those exams. I'm telling you, it was God. Because I used to go into the exam rooms, and I was so fortunate in the school that I was in. It was a small school, so the teachers all knew me. They knew my family, and they were so sympathetic. Like during exams, I'll just start crying in the exam room. They take me out to the toilet. They give me water. I come back. I write. I don't remember what I wrote, Millicent, but I passed.
But you made it.
And I qualified for accounting at UJ. And so, in fact, also when all of that happened in my life and I lost my mom and it was painful, I had a choice to make. I was either going to stay and, drink every single night of my life, or I was going to live my life in honor of my mom. And in fact, when I saw her body, the last time I saw her in the casket, I said to her, I'm going to live a life in honor of you. I'm going to honor you with my life. I was 16, I didn't even know what that meant. But I spoke at her funeral and I said, my mom taught us to be independent people, and I'm going to be that independent person.
Wow.
You know what I mean? I was 16. Okay, cool. For the story, I went to UJ. I did accounting, and so I did accounting, the CA program, but I was not really in tune with it. So I decided to just follow and do accounting because I've always been a numbers person. I've always been a business-minded kind of person. I remember when I was like 7 in grade 1 and 2, I used to sell earrings. I used to take my mom's old earrings and I just sell it to her friends. And
I love that.
I always had that entrepreneurial thing about me. So I think that also played a role in my later years. And yeah, so in varsity was tough. It wasn't easy because you're coming into a space where people have all this support and they've got parents and they've got bursaries and they've got everything, and the only thing I had was Jesus. And I had to make Jesus work. You know what I'm saying? And he worked for me because I passed through my my varsity life and went through a series of things, and just to rewind back on the story of redemption and how God redeemed me. Remember I told you that my dad died a month before I was born. So I grew up not having a father. So for me, when I saw a man, I didn't really understand the whole concept of submission and honor and
Because we've never seen it anywhere. No one taught you those things.
Exactly. And even in my family, I've got very strong aunts. And I'm talking about strong women. Like, I'm built from strong ass women. Like, and I love my aunts. I love them so much.
Yeah.
So I never saw that thing played out. So even being in relationships, like in high school and stuff, it never dawned on me that I need to be, like this image of this like timid, oh yeah, baba, yeah, but it was never me. And it was never gonna be me because I didn't know. You see, they say you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And you don't know the value of it. Because I would read the Bible about submission, but I always had counter opposing thoughts about it because I didn't understand it. You see, it's like in our generation today, a lot of women fight submission and they fight honoring a man, and they would rather call a man trash than call him a king because they don't know what they don't know. It's a plan of the enemy to dismantle families, to take the men away. Remember, in the will of God, the man is the head of the household, and the man carries the vision of the household. The Bible says, where there is no vision, the people scatter. So when the vision, who is the man of the household, is taken away, the woman, the children, they just in their own thing.
And in most cases, there's no order.
There's no order. You see it with young boys who grow up with no fathers. They become lawless. They just become. It's either they become very good and upright because they don't want to be like their father who walked down their mom, or they become so wayward
until they find Jesus. For those who were like, fortunate enough to find God. Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying?
Yes.
And that's the plan of the enemy. And this is one of the things that I want in my generation. God to restore the family unit, the family construct. It is the will of God that we come back and we are restored as families. But now there's so much that divides us, and okay, never mind about that. But so as I was saying, back to my story, that male figure was not there, and so I was looking for that male figure, and I didn't know I was looking for the male figure, but my actions were portraying what is really going on in my heart. You know what I mean? The Bible says that as a man thinketh in his heart, so he is. And my thoughts of, I'm looking for a strong man. And I'm looking for a man who can handle me. And I'm looking for a man who has got substance. I don't want these small boys. We say these things, but we don't actually realize that we're actually speaking from a longing, a deep desire of headship, a deep desire of leadership. You get what I'm saying? And so I ended up getting into wrong relationships. I mean, if I look back at the men that I used to date, some of them, there was absolutely no reason why I was with them. But I was looking for that strong, authoritative figure because I never had that figure.
Never had it.
And my heart was broken, of course. My dreams at some point, and you get some men that are so cruel, and they will tell you about how ugly you are and how fat you are, and all these insecurities started to creep up. And then here I am now, I've got a broken heart and I'm filled with insecurities.
And you still not filled. Whatever that you're looking for, you're still not fulfilled. You're still not getting it.
Exactly. And so it took me a long time to even accept myself. I hated the way I looked. I just didn't like the way that I looked, and I would spend so much time comparing myself to other people. You know what I mean? And people used to tell me, you've got a natural gift of speaking to people, but I never saw that. It's almost like I was very good in seeing the good in people. But never
in you. Yeah, because you were told you are not good.
And I believed
that is why, and you believed it.
And I believed it. And sometimes I think about, those friends that we all have, those strong friends, those ones that the life of the party, the ones that always make everyone laugh. Check up on those people. Because at times, those are the people that are suppressing the hardest of feelings, and they are extroverts because they're trying to make people not see what's going on
or keep busy. Even for them to keep busy, to not have to face whatever that they're going through.
Exactly. So I was that kind of a person, and I was a perfectionist. Even in my work, everyone will tell you, Phelisa was like this.
You do things by the book.
Yes, by the book, and it must be excellent. If I'm doing an event, it must be excellent. If it's a church, it must be excellent. Because I was so obsessed with perfectionism. I was so obsessed with being on top. I was so obsessed with being, I never felt enough. And it was as though if I get the highest marks, if I do the best, I will be enough. Because also another thing I forgot to tell you was God graced me with brains from a very young age.
Yeah, I can tell.
So I was always the youngest in the grade, but the smartest in the grade. When I was in grade 1, I think I was 5 when I was in grade 1 with 7-year-olds. And because I knew that I was lacking from an age perspective and I was lacking from a height perspective because I was naturally short, I needed to work.
Okay.
You understand?
So what I'm hearing from your story is that sometimes perfection and excellency is good because we serve an excellent God. We must aim for that. But sometimes it depends on where it's coming from.
Exactly.
It could come from a place of insecurity and you still don't get satisfied even after you've done an excellent job.
Yeah. Exactly.
Wow.
And I will build on that and you'll see why I get to that. But that is exactly where it's coming from. Everything has a source. And unless you identify the source, you'll miss the actual lesson in the thing. So like I'm telling you, I was the youngest, I was always the shortest, but I had to be the smartest. I had to come up on top on something. And then this became a trend in my life, like as things went. And this is how you find, really, people who are successful in business. Absolutely successful in business, but their life at home is falling apart.
Yes,
they
lack no peace.
They have no peace. They are excellent in ministry. Give them a mic.
Yeah,
they bring the house down, but they are very poor communicators at home. They are very poor husbands and wives and sisters and mothers. Why? Because works have a way of making you feel like you're enough, but God does not qualify you by your works. He qualifies you by the person that you are. And now I want to get to the turnaround in my life.
Okay.
Where I met God. And not God that I was taught.
Not your mother's God.
Not my mother's God. Because that's very important.
Yes, there's a difference.
Very.
Yes.
Not my pastor's God, you know. So so as my life went by and I was hurt by all these men, I took a decision to be celibate. I'm going to stop dating. I'm going to focus on God because now I want to discover what does God have for me. But even in that, right, so when we become born again, so now I took a decision to be like, okay, I made the salvation prayer when I was 10 years old, but now I'm ready to be transformed. Because it's possible for you to say the salvation prayer and you're a Christian, but you're not born again. So I was...
Power.
So I said the salvation prayer when I was 10. I remember that, I'll never forget it. And if I completed a form, I was Christian. I read the Bible. But was I transformed?
You went to church every Sunday.
Went to church.
You've done everything by the book.
Yeah, in fact, I started praying in tongues when I was 15. You know what I'm saying? But was I transformed? No, I was not.
Wow. Because
transformation comes by the renewal of your mind.
Yes.
And unless your mind is still in that old place, in that place, there's no transformation. You know what I'm saying? And therefore there's no rebirth. Because you're still living the same way. You're still doing the same things. Okay, so yeah. The story goes on, and so now I was celibate, right? I decided to give my life to the Lord now completely. Now I'm in this Christian context of I'm in church. I'm praying every day. I was in a church whereby it was a varsity, you know. So there was room for us to be able to have prayer on Tuesdays, prayer on Thursday, evangelism on Saturday. Sunday service church, and so now I'm in the activities of church, you know, and I'm there, I'm active, I'm a leader, I'm a mentor, I'm saying all these stories, and the one, remember what I told you about my deficiency that I had from a father role, the deficiency that I had from always wanting to be on top, working to be on top. Now I'm in a place where I'm in a church where I am a leader, I'm a minister, and now I want to work. I want to excel. I want to do great. Yeah. But where is it coming from?
Where is it coming from?
Remember?
Yeah.
So I'm excellent. I'm pushing. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm doing that. Hey, listen. I'm pushing. But where is it coming from? It's coming from a void. It's coming from a lonely place. It's coming from a place that I'm not willing to expose to God to heal.
Yes.
But I'm praying in tongues. And I'm prophesying. And I'm doing all these things that look glorious outwardly, but inwardly there's a void in my heart and in my soul. And I write down the things that are limitations about me, and I say, how am I gonna use this as my weapon instead of as my opposition? I took the fact that I don't have I did this in varsity in my third year. I remember I wrote them down in my diary. I said, okay, I don't have parents. I'm a female, I'm black, I don't come from a well-off family. Okay, let's use these four. How am I going to use this for my advantage?
Yes.
Because the enemy will always use this
against you.
Against me, to whisper failure. You don't have parents. You don't come from a well-off family.
You know, you might as well get a sugar daddy.
You understand? You might as well quit. You might as well. So I was like, oh, I know what he wants to use. So how am I going to turn these things around? And I was like, okay, you don't have parents. How can you use that around? People that have parents rely on their parents. You don't. You rely on God. Number one. Take off my list.
Yes.
Number two, you're black and you're female, which means you're already seen as inferior. You're almost seen as you don't matter. You don't have a voice in investment banking.
Yeah.
You're going to use that. You're going to use your voice in it. You understand? That's what I did. And that's what I also want to encourage somebody to do. That write down the things that pain you about you.
Yes.
And look at how you can turn those things for your favor. Instead of condemning yourself about it. If you had,
and that is so powerful.
Exactly. Because then you know what, the enemy doesn't have anything to hit you with. Because all of those things, if you, like I was about to say, if you had an abortion and it's that thing that nobody knows, use that. You had no choice, or whatever the reason was. If you went through a divorce, you know, I speak to a lot of ladies that are still, you know, bitter about a divorce that they went through. You went through it, it's okay. How can you use that failed marriage or that experience to turn around that in your next or in whatever it doesn't happen again?
Yes.
Because the enemy keeps us at our points of failure, but God always pulls us to a higher place.
True.
You know what I'm saying? And if you use those experiences, those bad things about you as steps to the higher place, you can never stay.
And help the next person.
Exactly.
Say, hey, look, you don't have to be like me. You don't have to go through the same things that I went through.
Exactly. But the enemy doesn't want us to talk about those failure places, because one, he knows that there's power in us acknowledging those failure places. Two, he knows that if you are there and I'm there, but we don't talk about it, we can keep us both down. Get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's where the power of testimony comes in, and the power of speaking about your story comes in.
That is true.
You know?
Yeah.
So okay, as I was still saying about my life, so now I was in this place, I was in this environment where I was working my salvation. You understand? I was, and the Bible says that it is not by works that we are saved, but by grace, and by grace alone. You know, it is. Into his presence we come, not by the works that we have done, but by his grace and his grace alone. Again, I was working because I had a deficiency in my head and in my mind of I need to be, I'm not enough. And I crashed. Oh, I crashed. Listen, that's one of the saddest, most depressing times of one's life, when you realize that you cannot outwork God. And no matter how hard you work, God is faithful to his word, to his time, and to his process. So no matter how much you can give and do this and dance around 7 times, if it is not the time that God has appointed, it's not. If it is not the process, if this is the process that God wants you to pass through, you'll pass through.
It will have to happen.
You know, this, when you walk through the fire, I'll be with you. When you walk through waters, you will not be drowned. He doesn't say if. He says when, which means it's just a matter of time until you go through it. You understand? So I crashed, and in my life, almost it was the biggest shock of my life that happened in 2019, where I left the ministry that I was in, because it was like I had made it so much of my God. I had exalted that place and the people and everything so much, and everything came crashing down. And now I needed to know who Phelisa is and who God is. So the place where I was working, I left the place I was working. I left the church I was working in. I left the friends that I had. I left the father figure that I had. Look, everything that could go wrong went wrong in a space of, I think, a month. Not even a month, even less than a month.
I think sometimes the minute you start idolizing something, you're gonna lose it. And that is how we get to experience God's love. When you lose that thing and you are left with nothing but God.
Exactly, and especially if that thing is not of God.
If it's not of God,
you get what I'm saying? If it's not of God, and then it still wants to take the place of God, it's too much of a mess. But guess what was happening in the background? So one side of my life was completely falling apart. It was like completely in shatters. But another side of my life was coming up. And this side of my life was me meeting my husband. And somebody who was going to come into my life and introduce God to me.
Wow.
In a way that I had never seen him before.
God can use anyone he sees fit,
Listen.
To get to us. Yeah.
So my husband, remember I was celibate for 7 years. Can I just say this?
Yeah.
7 years. And because I made a commitment to God to say, God, I want to, like, I made mistakes in the sexual area of my life, in my lifestyle, through high school, varsity, whatever. And now I want to give myself to my husband. But I wanted to do that through your will, through your word, right? Cool. So that's why I was celibate. So I always used to have dreams about this guy who was going to be my husband, and I always say, oh, my husband, I want him to be like this, I want him to be like that, I want him to be like this, I want him to be like that, right? And a week before I met my husband, I was having one of my temper sessions with God, like, where is he? Like, what's going on, God? Why is everyone in a relationship and I'm not, blah, blah, blah. And so God told me it was in a dream, and I believe God speaks through dreams. And he said to me in the dream that you're going to meet this guy, and you will heal him with your love. And he will also heal you in places that you don't know that you're broken. So and then I was like, okay, this is so deep, but like, God, really? And then he told me
Am I even broken? I mean,
I'm
you don't even
warrior.
know.
What do you mean I'm broken? And this was before I left the church, mind you. And then he was like, this guy he will father you in many ways. Oh, and I was like, okay, the father thing. See, I didn't know the void of the father thing until my husband came along.
Nice.
And he was like, he will father you in many ways, and you will lean on him, and your union will glorify me. And I had a vision of him that God told me that he's coming from a big family, and so he needs your kind of love. My love is a lot. Like, I'm one of those people that are like, when you say a man is too much, I'm a too much kind of person. And my too much, Millie, never found room in anyone before. Like, people be just like, hey, Omar, too much, girl. Like, you're just doing too much. But I found somebody who embraces my too much.
You are too much.
He loves my too much. He loves it so much. So
it does not irritate him. He does not get tired.
No. In fact, even my sensitivity, because if I watch a movie, I cry. I'm one of those people. Like, and he's like, baby, why are you catching feelings? It's just a movie. But I'm there like crying. And then he'll comfort me. Like, he knows me. So, okay, cool. So in walks this man into my life. And he was nothing like his exterior. In fact, and God said this to me. He said, remove the outward appearance that you're thinking.
Yeah, I was about to ask you that. When you were saying, I want a man who's like this and this and this and this, were you, before God spoke to you, were you referring to physical appearance, or were you referring to characteristics or his personality?
I think both.
Okay.
I think a bit of both, but more so on the superficial things. Like, he must be okay financially.
Tall,
I ain't taking no broke.
Every woman wants a tall, dark, and what.
But interestingly enough, I wanted a vendor man.
Okay.
I specifically wanted, because I was just like, Zulu, Xhosa, I'm done with them, Tswanas. I just want a vendor man. I want something different. And guess what? I got a vendor man. Funny enough.
Wow.
So then he came into my life, and he just, you know what he came to do? He came living the scriptures. Remember, I was from a church and I just left it and everything was in shambles. And I used to preach, I used to speak the word. But he came living the word.
Wow.
And there's a very big difference.
Yes.
Very big difference between one who quotes the scriptures and one who lives the word.
Yes.
And he challenged me so much because I would talk about faith, he would live faith. And then I would get like, no, but where's God? And he'd be like, no, but weren't you the one saying yesterday?
Yeah.
He lived what he was what he was reading. And I read and I spoke, but I didn't live. You get what I'm saying? He brought me back to a loving God. And he introduced me to leadership that I never knew before. Like, before, I could never be in a relationship with a man and like feel like he's my leader. This one.
Wow.
He leads me so well.
And submission became so easy.
So natural.
So effortless.
In fact, I actually find myself, I'm like, why were you inviting this guy? Like, really? Are you joking? And learning to submit was not easy. Learning to listen to another man, learning to compromise, because remember, I fell in love with somebody who didn't love me because I was an investment banker, I was a businesswoman, I was a minister, none of that mattered for him. What mattered was my heart.
Wow.
And it was so difficult to understand why. So what I would do is I would break up with him. And I was like, I'm done with you, I'm breaking up with you. And guess what he'll say? I'm not going anyway.
Sure.
Like, so now look what is happening. The manifestations of my father walking out, dying, my mother dying, my grandparents dying, those abandonment feelings were creeping up in our relationship. And all I could do was push him away before he leaves me.
Oh, you're trying to protect yourself. You're like, what? Actually, you felt like he was too good to be true.
He was too good to be true.
But then you're like, and the fact that you're not used to having someone love you that way.
I'm not. I'm not used to having somebody who doesn't love me because who loves me in spite of.
Yes.
So I would just be like, no, it's over. And he'd be like, I'm not going anyway. I'm here. Hey, like he used to challenge me because I'm used to being alone. I'm used to being neglected and rejection. And that's what I want to say to women who are going through rejection. Is that rejection always makes you feel like you don't deserve. You are not enough. And
you believe that. You want to live like I don't deserve.
Yeah.
So even when you feel like you deserve, you like it can be me.
Yeah.
You want to reject that thing. You want to get rid of it because
before it rejects you.
Before it rejects you. Yeah.
That's the cycle of rejection. And he made me, I would cry. I don't want to lie. I would cry, and he would say, we're going to deal with this. We're going to go to the roots of this.
Wow.
I want to know why do you always want to take me out of your life? Why do you always say these things about yourself? And I had to go back to my childhood. And I had to go back to the times when I was in creche and things happened. And you will be surprised how much your mind actually retains. There are things that trauma suppresses about you, right? But when you grow up, they manifest in different ways. You know, like when you see those boss babes in the office that are, I'm the girl, I'm the, those women that become bossy. It's because of something that happened.
There's where it's coming from, like what you were saying you may be something that looks so cool and awesome, but where is it coming from? Where is the source?
The source. So this man, he helped me, and I believe it was God through him, because he would use the scriptures and he would pray with me, and we would go to church, and like he introduced me to a different God.
Wow.
And to a different healing.
A loving God. A healer.
A healer. A father. You know what I mean? Because he grew up with a father, but his father was not really present in his life. But that never stopped him from pursuing a relationship with him. So it also made me see that this father that I have, who is a heavenly father, he is not looking for me to be perfect. He's just looking for me to be there.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
And my life completely changed, and God restored me. And he restored my heart for him. Because my heart towards God was, I was doing things for God. And I was handing him receipts. On some, you gotta pay up now.
Because I was saving. I was doing this and this and this and
I've
this.
been tithing. I've been praying for people. God, now I need my car. Now I need my brakes. Now I need my... And you know what I'm saying? And then you end up in tantrums, and you end up praying emotional prayers. So you can spend an hour in prayer. And to you, you've done good because you've prayed for an hour. But you've done nothing. Because you've not said a word in his will. All you were doing in that hour is just... venting. Or rebuking the devil.
Yes.
So you spend an hour rebuking the devil. And you call that prayer. You get
or killing witches.
And you call it a prayer. So it challenged a lot about my spirituality and my relationship with God, to say. And you know what? I even now when I pray, I used to go into prayer and I would get the goosebumps. And God said to me,
it's not about that. You know, we have been, we had to unlearn a lot of things. Like we've been through so many false doctrines when, I thank God for your life. And your journey is so amazing. And the fact I've learned so much, especially when you touched the void part, saying you can be something shining out there, but you lack that contentment. You lack that peace because of where it's coming from. So sometimes observe, sit down, face your fears and try to figure out, okay, I'm doing this, I'm this. And it even gets funny that people come to you and say, you're such an inspiration.
Yes.
What. But when you're sitting alone, you are so empty. Because it's coming from a wrong place. You get it. So yeah, we thank God for you. Thank you for sharing your story.
Yeah.
And I believe someone out there is inspired by your story and they're looking forward to dealing with these things, because we see a lot of bad fruits out there, but we fail to figure out where exactly do they come from. But it is in telling of our stories that people get to resonate to what you're going through, to what they're going through.
Yes.
And they're like, they get to get solutions. We're being practical, because it's another thing to say, hey Mzalwane, come, let us pray for you, but then you didn't really deal with the things.
Exactly.
Yeah, so you are so awesome.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. What can you say, just in closing, what can you say to someone who's going through what you're going through, the pain of not having a father figure in their lives, and the mistakes that they've done, maybe they've dated like a couple of guys and they feel dirty, and what can you say to that young woman who's listening, or man?
So for me, what I would definitely want to say is that don't rule out yourself. Don't shut a book that God is still writing. Remember, the Bible says that He is the author and He is the perfecter of our faith, which means He is writing the story. Don't close the book that God is still writing. And even for your father, let's say you do have a father, but he's a drunkard and your mother is wayward, don't close that book on their lives, because you don't know what God can do, right? And what I want to say is your father, your mother, as important as they are in bringing you onto the earth, that was their role, to bring you onto the earth.
Yes.
Now that you are on the earth, don't waste your life looking backward, but face forward.
Wow.
Keep it moving.
Yes.
That's the motto of my life.
Yeah,
keep it moving. Even you're going to go through disappointments. You're going to go through hurt. You're going to experience loneliness. You're going to experience, being broke at some point, but keep it moving.
Keep it moving.
Don't allow yourself to camp in a place of fear and worry and doubt. Keep it moving. If your parents die, grieve, go through it, but keep it moving. There's life at the end of the tunnel. And what I want to say also is that God hears us when we cry, when we pray, when we ask Him. He hears us. We don't have to qualify God's response by our giving or our works. We don't qualify it. All we need to do is surrender to Him, and His arms are wide open for us.
And to know. Sometimes you don't feel it and you don't see it, but when you know, it's a different story.
Exactly. When you know Him. When you know Him. And the sad thing about knowing God is that you know Him through experiences, through lived experiences. So He takes you through so much, but He just wants to reveal Himself to you. So what I would encourage somebody is that restoration is possible.
Yes.
Restitution is possible. Revival of your prayer life, revival is possible. Redemption is possible. God is not, you are not your season. You are not the place that you're in right now. If you are going through a tough time in your marriage, in your business, in your career, you are not that season. You are passing through that season. And God's light and God's love is always ready to accept you at the place where you are. Right where you are.
Everyone who's watching, I hope you are inspired, because I'm teary right now. I think I'm gonna ask you that we have prayer. We're gonna close this. We're gonna pray and just worship God. I don't know, there's just a need in my spirit to say, let us thank God with your life and worship Him for what He's done in your life.
Amen.
Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Phelisa has a YouTube channel actually, so you please subscribe to her YouTube channel and follow her on Instagram and Facebook. Your YouTube channel handle is?
Phelisa Sibayana.
Phelisa Sibayana, yes. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. God bless you and keep it moving.